Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's working with the homeless, Alzheimer's, and so forth. We are so honored to have in the studio with us today Tony Elliott and Laura Elliott of Bulletproof Tony. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, just honored to have you on, and I'm just thrilled to have back in the seat next to me my co-host in year 3 of Spotlight on the Community, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. How you doing, Kristen?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing just fine over here. You want to get us kicked off?
Let's get us kicked off. So maybe, Anthony, I know that you have a little bit of laryngitis, but I'm curious about the mission behind the organization. And to get to that, perhaps one of you can talk a little bit about your story and how you got there.
We'll start with you, Tony.
So here, I'll give it a shot. So
Beautiful.
About 2 years ago, I was shot in the head, chasing after a guy who stole a vehicle. Instantly, when I was shot, I was paralyzed on the left side of my body, recovered at a pretty remarkable rate that wasn't short of the support I got from my family, my community, and essentially the life I lived before my injury set myself up for success. So we want to share that and share what we've learned and kind of disseminate it throughout the community so other people can prop themselves up and make themselves more susceptible, having a great recovery if something does happen in their life. And I'm going to pass it off to my wife.
Yeah.
You're doing fine.
You are. You're doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Laura, needless to say, both your lives turned on a dime when this happened.
Yeah.
When you found out about Tony getting shot, when did you find out? How long was it after he got shot? And the shock must have been unbelievable.
Yeah. So it was kind of in the middle of the night. I found out because I had 3 officers show up at my doorstep in the middle of the night. And you typically know what that means as the wife. So unfortunately, my phone was on silent because I have little children and someone's always sleeping. So he was trying to get a hold of me and he didn't. And a kind of amazing part of the story was before I opened the door, I didn't really see that there were officers out there. I saw 3 really big men and I got scared. And then Anthony's voice came over the Ring camera. He was on the trauma table with a bullet in his head at this point. And all he was thinking about is, how do I get a hold of Laura to let her know that I'm alive so that she doesn't see these police officers at my door and freak out. So I was waiting there and I heard his voice, and we actually have the Ring camera footage. It's pretty funny. He makes a joke about how he's feeling, and he feels like there's a bullet in his head and he just got shot. And
You got to keep your sense of humor. With all this kind of stuff.
made the officers laugh, which was nice. But rushed to the hospital, and I was greeted with a lot of brass and a lot of the higher ups in the police department, and saw him. And he, went into surgery the next morning. It was very much high mortality rate. We didn't know if he was going to survive. Luckily, I had a lot of support with all of our friends. We don't have family that live nearby, so we have some great friends that just rushed to help with the kids. That's kind of all I was thinking about aside from him, is just the kids. And he went through surgery and came out great. And it was just kind of a roller coaster from there, with family flying in and kind of stuck at the hospital for, we were there for maybe like 10 days, I believe it was. He was completely paralyzed on the whole left side of his body because he got shot on the right side of his brain.
Right.
So to the point where he couldn't even look at me if I was sitting on like the left side of him. He couldn't even move his eyes. So,
And so how old, how many years ago? Was this a couple of years ago when this happened?
this was in 2023.
Okay, 2023. Okay. How old was Tony when this happened?
37.
37.
37. Okay,
Yeah.
37. And how many kids?
At that time, we had two very little children.
My goodness. Okay. When did they know that Dad was hurt? Was that the next day, a week? They were too young to comprehend it?
One was too young to comprehend. The other one just turned 3, so he kind of knew a little bit. My family rushed in, his parents, my parents, and it was more of a conversation of Daddy got hurt at work. He's getting better and he'll be home soon. And eventually we were able to get them to come visit Anthony. I think it was after like maybe like 6 or 7 days, which was actually not the greatest because he was kind of stuck in a wheelchair. He couldn't move. And for my little one at 3, it kind of freaked him out a little bit. So, but they ended up getting used to that. And then after being at the hospital, we went to some intensive rehab out of state in Colorado. And Anthony was there for just about a month, a little short of a month. And he was progressing so well that they actually kicked him out early, which was great. And, being there and the kids were around, we were in the hospital every single day and it just became normal life to them. So they got used to it pretty fast.
Yeah. And you actually came. My father was a medical doctor, and I used to go with him on hospital rounds. And when he got hospitalized, I'm not sure if you ever get used to it, but it becomes a little bit normal in this aspect of it. So you're in Colorado, okay, and you're making a phenomenal recovery. Certainly it has to do with the shape you were in and just your resilience and your mindset and just who you are, Tony, of course. Not everyone is like that. Did you have any doubt from the time you were shot that you were going to recover from this?
No, and that's a big part of it is I didn't have any doubt, and especially the support of my family and her solidifying, hey, you need to make the decision that you're going to get better. And in my head, I was like, oh, it's that easy because I've dealt with injuries, I've dealt with failure, I've dealt with setbacks, and that was kind of how my life was operating before this happened. So when I got injured, this was just like another recovery, So it wasn't a big deal to me, but for her, it was much bigger deal. So
yeah, we'll ask you this, Laura. So did you have any doubt that your husband was going to recover?
It was really interesting when my mindset went, and it went to a place where all I could think about was, okay, I've seen this happen to other people. I've seen crazy things happen, and I've seen people get better. And I think, and in that moment, I was like, your brain is so powerful. You can manifest stuff. And I just went into full force. I'm going to make this decision, and this is just what's going to happen. He's just going to get better. And so that's kind of how I operated. I didn't have any kind of talk around him about like, oh, you're not going to walk again. You're not going to do this. Although we had a doctor pretty much tell us that. And I was like,
you're out.
I was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And what I do remember though, is even though I was pretty confident in we're going to figure this out and it's going to happen, I do remember I left finally to go home to see the kids. And when I came back, he looked at me and he was like, hey babe, do you want to see something really cool? And I was like, sure. And he just lifted his left thumb up, and I couldn't believe it. And at that moment I was like, okay, the neuropaths are there. They're talking, and he's going to be fine.
We're chatting with Laura and Tony Elliott. Tony was shot chasing, I guess someone was trying to steal a car. Is that correct?
Yeah, they stole a car and did a couple other things, and we found him and foot chasing.
Now, 2023, miraculous recovery thanks to the unbelievable support of Laura and the whole family and the whole community. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed, crediting, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen.
Yeah. So then let's flash forward a bit. How did you get the idea for Bulletproof Tony? How did that kind of come to fruition?
It was a pretty natural process. When we got back, we just kind of had such a just community reaching out and connecting with him. And when he was in Colorado going through the recovery process, and although we say that he recovered very fast, he had some very dark moments as well, as you would expect.
Of course.
Especially at night in the hospital when we would have to leave and go to our apartment. So he started just recording things himself. And, he's always said, like, at that moment, I thought to myself, well, if I can't work again, then maybe I'll be an influencer or something.
Or a podcaster.
Or a podcaster.
You gotta make money somehow. Yeah.
So he started recording videos and just it helped him kind of grieve through the process. And he created an Instagram account and called it Bulletproof Tony. And he kind of showed his recovery, but it was actually mostly, if you go on it, it's like very humorous. He's always been someone that found humor in things. And I think that is also a huge part of his recovery. He, you have to make light of things. You can't take things too seriously. He had a couple of videos that were pretty funny that went viral, and it just kind of started from there. And then he did a couple speaking events and just kind of talking about resilience and his mindset, and it really stuck with people. So now that's what we do.
So are you speaking to all groups of folks? Certainly motivational speeches, telling people if you put your mind to something, obviously you're a poster child for that, what you can do, regardless if it's a physical injury, whether it's a mental issue, or just in general, correct?
Well, she can elaborate because she has a voice, but basically it's a roadmap on how you prepare for something like this, because you can. Which is crazy to think about. You can prepare for being shot in the head, or paralysis, or a loss of a loved one, or being sick. You can prepare, and the way you prepare is how you live your life before this happens. So
it's interesting, and I think Kristen, you might remember our friends who have been on spinal cord injury, and she's just a remarkable woman. Her life changed with that one car accident, and now she's in a wheelchair, but she's not letting that stop her. And it would be interesting to put you two together and say, what did she do for her resilience? As I refuse to sit there and this is going to be my life. I mean, they're out there dancing all that spinal cord, and she'll never. She has a little bit of feeling in her hands now, and all that business. We come back from a break. Tony and Laura, let's talk a little bit about certainly what you folks do. We always save time at the second half, how we can support your organization and so forth, and just talk about is it the volunteer folks need, or certainly we know money turns on lights, so you need some donations, whatever you can think about. When we return with Laura Elliott and Tony Elliott and Bulletproof Tony. Police officer, thank you for their service, who was chasing down a car thief and got shot in the head. An unbelievable story of recovery. And when we come right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the amazing folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community. So honored to have in the studio with us today Laura Elliott and Tony Elliott of Bulletproof Tony, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen?
Yeah. So I think before the break, we were starting to talk about the speaking engagements, and maybe, Laura, you could talk a little bit about, is there a target group? Is it for school children? Is it for, who are you seeking to reach? And
it's really everyone. We mostly, if I were to target, we really are speaking to young men and women. There's a couple targets. So young men and women, and just really instilling in them that they can start now and prepare and build their life in a way that's going to make it so that they can be resilient when challenges come. And then also just, people who already kind of are in life, kind of like what happened to us, and how you can take steps right now to start creating an even stronger mindset, so that you can be prepared. And then a third one that we do focus on is law enforcement and first responders. And with them, we do really focus on health and wellness and speaking about mindset, but also we really also talk about the two sides of trauma. And that story can also go outside of obviously first responders, but there's this, I speak a lot about the side of trauma that doesn't really get a spotlight. And as like the wife who is going through all this and supporting someone and going through the trauma, obviously he was the one shot, but there's a lot in the background. And I think it's a very important story. And there is a lot of support that's needed for that person too.
Yeah. So many good things in there. Without, giving away all of your good gems and everything, what is a practical way to just be more resilient? I'm speaking to my little anxious rabbit heart right now. How do you approach this?
So I'll start it with the story of when we were in Craig Hospital in Colorado, and it's an amazing place, and we got amazing service, and the doctors there. And one of the things that they kept telling us, because, you're sitting there like, am I going to get better? Am I going to get better? What can I do? What have you seen? And the thing that they kept telling us is the ones that get better have a healthy life. They don't have any demons. They're not addicted to anything. They have the family support. They have something to live for. And those are the ones that get better. The ones that just kind of coast, the ones that don't, that kind of stuff really gets in the way. And Anthony speaks a lot about, and as he reflected on it, is he kind of says, this was the best time for me to get shot in the head, which is a very odd statement. But, family life was great. Me and him were great. He had a really great career. His mindset is pretty good already, in the sense of, he doesn't really let anything tear him down. He's been through so many failures in life, going through in the Navy, going through buds, failing out of that, just like so many things and he talks about failures and how important that is in life to make you resilient. And it's a good thing. So just from all of that, that's kind of, where this kind of came from, and what we really do hone in on.
We talk a lot about life diversification as well. If you could touch on that.
That's another big thing, is a lot of times people, their life is their job. We know some people who, like, they're police officers, and if that were to be taken away, they would just crumble. And that goes also for everyone else. That goes for, he works with a lot of younger generation, and he's dealt with a case before where there was a kid and his life was his phone, and to be an influencer and to be on his phone, and when that got taken away, he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so we do talk a lot about, okay, well, let's build a really resilient, healthy mindset, and let's build a really strong foundation now, so that when something comes, whether it's you get shot in the head, or it's a kid gets sick in your family, or a parent dies, or something happens with a good friend, or you're just, coming up with a challenge in life, if you're young and trying to get through life, like you're going to be ready for that. So let's get that foundation set. And so to diversify your life, making sure that your career is not everything, that you have your career in place, you have your passions in place, and you have your health in place, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So, what can we do to support the organization? What can our listeners do?
Well, if you know of an opportunity, or if you know of someone that's looking for speakers, we do keynote speaking, we do podcast interviews, and our goal is really just to be there for support, spread the word, to motivate, to inspire. So if you know anything like that, we have a website, bulletprooftony.com, that you can go to learn more information. And we also have social channels too as well. And we love connecting with people. That's kind of the beauty, that when this all started, he started his social channel, and so many people reached out, people going through similar things, and got connected. And it was pretty amazing.
So, Tony, do you travel all over the country to speak? Not yet.
A little bit. No,
Okay.
I was in Salem, New Hampshire for the police department in December, which was a great experience. I was in the UK about a year ago, speaking in an Air Force base there, meeting a lot of great people. So it's starting to pick up now. But so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you work with athletes at all? Obviously there's a lot of trauma in their lives, all of a sudden the career-ending injuries and so forth. Have you done that yet?
We have not done that yet, and that would be a really good market.
See,
Yeah.
As Kristen knows, my job is to create more work for people.
Absolutely. If you don't have 6 to-do items, you haven't been on the podcast. So just buckle up.
Right. No, but that would seem like, and listen, here are these folks, as you well know, that are doing this, and all of a sudden this, whether it's, Tommy John surgery 3 times over, or whatever the case may be. So we will keep an eye out for athletes and direct them your way. How's that?
Awesome.
So
That'd
I've
be
had
great.
plenty of athletic, I used to play in the Central States Hockey League back in the day, but I have a lot of orthopedic injuries, and I feel like that's a great segue, because I can take this and then also merge it with all those injury recoveries. So that would be a great segue.
Yeah. I think it'd be a natural in this area. Laura, do you and or Tony go out to the schools and give inspirational talks?
Yeah, we have that actually planned coming up. So we're very excited about that. And we do love, talking to the younger generation. That's actually a passion of mine. So yes.
What schools are you teed up with? We work pretty much with all 43 school districts.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. So we can open doors up for you if you're interested.
That would be great. Yeah.
Any and all. And we're speaking to Cristo Ray, and I don't know, we haven't set that up yet, but then spoke at Rancho Bernardo High. I think that was about almost 2 years ago, right after I was injured. So I was probably still on meds when I was doing that one. But any takers, anyone who's interested, we'll go speak to them.
No, we'll get this message out to the folks. We work with the County Office of Education, which oversees, from a financial standpoint, all 43 school districts.
That's great.
In the area. And this was a great speech for 75 different reasons, in this area. Kristen, what other questions do we have for Laura and Tony?
What else would you like to share with us that's important for the listeners to know?
Don't get laryngitis before a
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
You're doing great,
It
by the way.
happens.
I'll have my voice on the next one.
You have a good mindset, so you're fine. It's good.
You sound perfect. You
Yeah.
kidding me? You sound good.
One of the things I do love always talking about and just reiterating is like, failure is so good.
Yes.
Like, just keep failing. It is so good. It's only going to make you stronger. And just looking back on our life and him reflecting on everything and being able to get through this, it is because of that. So I know it feels hard to fail, but fail. And if you're not failing, go find something to fail at because it's so important and it will make you strong.
Growth doesn't come in comfort.
Yeah. I think that's so important. I have a young son, and I think we're all always thinking about how can we make children more resilient these days. So it's such an important thing that you're doing.
Well, and you give them the opportunity to fail,
Yep.
and you put them out there and say, that's okay, skin your knees, and we'll learn from this. And do you have 3 kids now?
Yes, we do.
3 kids. And the oldest is how old?
He's 5.
He's 5. Okay, very good. So when you were in Colorado, Tony, Laura, were you there the whole time?
Yes.
Who watched the kids? Or did the kids come with you?
Everyone came.
Okay.
We kind of had a team. And that's also something I talk about is building your community and how important that is.
Right.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. His mom was able to, my sister started the trip, came out and had us all on the plane and helped me out there. And then his mom met us. And it was just all of us in a small apartment. And I shared a bed with his mom. And we put my little one in the closet so that he would sleep.
It was a big closet.
It was a big closet.
I put my child in many a closet, so no shame here. Yeah.
No, listen, first of all, definitely want to have you come back on, to say the least. And, why don't we do this once you're talking to more schools or talking to whoever else, would love to bring in someone that you've spoken to. And so they can give some feedback on this is how, Tony inspired me and what Laura did. And we have changed some things, how we've done, however that is. So if that's okay with you, we'd love to have you come and make it.
We love that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, consider that done. Well, an honor to talk to both of you, Laura and Tony. Congratulations on this wonderful Bulletproof Tony.com. Encourage our listeners to go to this. If you have some speaking engagements, whether it's school, whether it's business, now we find a new arm for them with athletics and so forth. We'll do that. And we'll look forward to having you folks come back on down the road.
Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is absolutely our honor. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We got the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the phenomenal folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 great years of really lifting up folks in San Diego County. And as always, Kristen Fogel, thank you for being in the co-pilot seat, and quite an interview, huh?
Indeed, yeah. The pleasure is mine.
Absolutely. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.